organizer of the event, BIGMINT, fellow panelists on the dais, fellow professionals, and dear friends. I stand before you not as a former bureaucrat, but as a professional who is part of the corporate world, who has got skin in the game. Friends, I'll point out a few strategic imperatives, strategic signposts, goalposts at the all India level in which steel sector is to play a very crucial role. The first one, India is committed to achieve net zero by 2070. Second, if we have to be a developed nation, we have to take the share of manufacturing in a GDP from the current 17% to 25%. Next, India is a young nation. The median age is 29 years. We have to create opportunities for the youth who are aspirational. We have to skill them and provide them jobs in this sector. We are on the path of Viksit Bharat. We have a goal to be a developed nation by 2047. In the current budget, there's a very interesting announcement that India plans to increase its capacity of nuclear power from the current 8,000 megawatts to 1 lakh megawatts by 2047. Nuclear power is a source of energy very, very relevant for this sector. So my address will be a very freewheeling interaction with you, not a prepared speech at all. On these strategic points, I'll just share my experiences and what I've learned in my 40 years of public life, which still continues. Friends, I have a very long association with the steel sector. Way back in 93-94, as the additional editor of Salem district, I was instrumental in acquiring the land for the first steel plant in Tamil Nadu, Siscol. It was called the Siscol of the LMW group, later acquired by JSW in Mettur, Salem. I used to also interact with the Salem steel plant, the cold rolling mills, but this plant, which is away from the input sources, could not reach its full potential. As the Commissioner of Geology and Mining, I've been involved with the prospecting process for iron ore in the Ganjamal Hills of Salem, in the Tirunmai Hills. And recently, as the Director General of COSI DC, we had an interactive meeting with the Raurkela Small Scale Industry Association. Many of them are specialized steel makers, and with the Tamil Nadu Small Industry Association for a partnership for sourcing the steel, the specialized steels for the components which they make in Tamil Nadu. Now, what organization I represent, which is of value for all of you. Friends, I am no longer in the IAS. I have superannuated of 38 of service in Tamil Nadu cadre. Now I am very much part of the corporate world. I head the COSI DC, the apex body of the state finance corporations and the state industrial development corporations. We are based in Delhi, Scope Complex, its honorary post, with the mandate to enhance the competitiveness of our MSMEs, pan-India. COSI DC has got a lot of relevance for several of you. I am also the chairman of ITCOT, a boutique consultancy firm based in Chennai, again pan-India presence, but with tremendous knowledge base and a value for money proposition. You can always engage ITCOT much better than the big four available in the market today. Now let's come to signposts. Net zero in 2070. Friends, though India has got the lowest per capita carbon emission, we are a responsible nation. Climate change, carbon emissions are impacting our nation in terms of quality of life, air quality, rising sea levels. So we have taken a very, very conscious decision, in which several goalposts are there. In this, all of you have to contribute. As Mr. Bhatia was mentioning, the way forward is decarbonization. Today, you would have heard of this in this VUCA world, the geopolitical context, the CBAM, cross-border adjustment mechanism of European Union. European Union has always been punching about its weight. They come out with several regulations and then force on the world, on the nations to export to them. There they're very clear. If your steel is not as per our standards, we are going to put additional tax on that. And that may be as high as 30%. Some talks are on to dilute some of these stringent provisions and push the implementation beyond 1st January 26. And CBAM something like other nations will adopt. And more than the pressure from others, why shouldn't we, as a responsible nation, a responsible sector, as responsible citizens, adopt the best practices so that we mitigate the carbon emissions? In this recent conference of parties at Baku, a very, very landmark decision was made to operationalize the Paris Agreement, Article 6.2 and 6.1, which means the voluntary carbon markets will come into play in India. The rules are under implementation, being framed. The nodal agency will be the Bureau of Energy Efficiency. And once those rules come to force by this year end, we will have a very, very healthy and robust voluntary carbon markets, which will be a value for you. Every step you take for reducing carbon footprint, reducing your intensity of energy usage through energy efficiency, going for circular economy, will be an additional benefit in terms of carbon credits. So friends, please look at that. Also, a related aspect of this sustainability is a related COP for biodiversity. So held in Colombia. I am a member of the expert committee of the National Biodiversity Authority. We have something called the Kunming-Montreal Global Framework for Biodiversity Conservation, which mandates industries to take a leading role in conserving biodiversity. India is a biodiversity hotspot, but sadly we are losing biodiversity, both floral and faunal, at a very, very alarming pace. So a responsible sector, please get involved with biodiversity conservation at the local level. It can be water body restoration, afforestation, native species, anything. This is going to add value to you. So today, friends, sustainability is no longer a CSR activity. It is no longer an option. It is a key competitive advantage. If Indian steel sector has to be relevant on the world stage, then sustainability has to be imbibed by every one of us. The plethora of standards, the BRSR of SEBI, the business responsibility sustainability reporting of SEBI, the scope standards, they'll keep coming. Mr. Bhatia was mentioning about the EDF standards and his green steel is making. So sustainability is non-negotiable. Every one of us embrace sustainability. Friends, next on technology. If India has to be Atmanirbhar, self-reliant, the current geopolitical context points very clearly that we should have our own manufacturing base and we should be strong in technology. Nations that rule material science, nations that are strong in alloys will rule the world. So steel sector, we must think beyond the raw steel. We must start thinking of specialized alloys, specialized combinations of various metals. There's a huge demand, whether it's aerospace, space, high-end manufacturing. You must imbibe technology, adopt technology. Gautam was mentioning about IR4. IR4, IR5 is a must in all the shop floors of the steel plants. So technology adoption has to happen. And it is events like this, organizations like BIGMINT must push for technology. As a mandate as DG COSI-DC, we push the best practice of technology across the MSMEs, across India. We have about 1 lakh MSMEs with us through the various state finance corporations and the state industrial development corporations. SIPCOT, TIC, RICO, Telangana state, all their bodies are part of this. So technology adoption is a must. Now coming to job creation, friends. It is incumbent upon all of us that we must create those jobs for the youth, for this young nation. They're aspirational. Let's partner with the various government bodies. There is no dearth of schemes or funds. Let's start skilling them and taking them on productive employment. Manufacturing sector is the only sector that will meet the career aspirations, the career trajectory of the youth. We must play a role here. We understand that for about 1 million ton capacity, 1,000 jobs are created. And these jobs have to be on pan-India basis. Now coming to green energy. Friends, this budget, I'll spend a few minutes on this. This is of very relevance to this high energy consumption sector. It's called hard to abate. Because along with aluminum, fertilizer, plastics, one of the 6 sectors targeted by CBAM is steel. In this budget, for the first time, the government of India has made a commitment that we will allow private sector to enter the nuclear power generation. Nuclear power generation is governed by the Atomic Energy Act, and as on date, only the Nuclear Power Corporation of India can generate nuclear power. But what are total capacity? Just 8,000 megawatt, just 2% of the total installed capacity of India. We have a huge, ambitious target of to take from the 8,000 megawatt to 1 lakh megawatt in 2047. And it's only possible with the private sector. Recently, you must have read that Nuclear Power Corporation has called for tenders, RFIs, for their small module reactors, 220 megawatt equivalent, pressure heavy water reactors. And company like JSW have shown heavy interest in that. Under this, companies will build these reactors and they will run by the Nuclear Power Corporation for a nominal fee, but the power can be used by the companies. Apart from the initiatives, hopefully in days to come, we'll find the sector opening up, but collectively, the big players or as a cluster, look at this green power. Because tomorrow, if you have to export steel, the simple question I want to ask you is this: what is the carbon weight of your steel? What's the carbon content? It is here. Yes, we have wind, solar, but battery storage is a concern. It will take time to scale up. Nuclear energy is energy dense. Land requirement is minimal. 90% PLF and no carbon emissions. So please look at that sector. And sustainability has to build in. Now friends, I was quite happy, but a bit surprised that an event of this scale, this size, this scope is being held in Chennai for the first time. As an officer of the Tamil Nadu cadre who has served the state for 38 years, at various fora, I always project Tamil Nadu as a unique state, the manufacturing hub of India, India's growth engine. And Tamil Nadu, the Honorable Chief Minister has targeted to make our economy a one trillion economy by 2030. What is the key factor here? It will be powered by green manufacturing. Learn the lessons of manufacturing excellence practices from Tamil Nadu. It will of interest to you that 54% of India's women workforce is from Tamil Nadu. The ecosystem is here. So these practices can be taken across. So my request to the organizers is, please have such more events here. The per capita consumption is the highest in South India. I'm sure it's very high in Tamil Nadu. India's is very low, it's about 90 kilograms, when the world average is about 230 plus kilograms. The manufacturing boom is going to need steel. It will need steel. And Tamil Nadu, South India, is going to need that steel. As Mr. Gautam was mentioning, the volumes are unlimited. Get quality, get green inside, and you're a winner. So friends, I will end my interaction with you by first complimenting all the organizers and all the participants, all the fellow professionals. There are going to be huge, rich takeaways and a wish to this steel sector. Some time back, Tata Steel had a tagline that we also make steel. Similarly, this sector should have a tagline that we are in the business of sustainability, we are in the business of nation building, we are in the business of powering India to a Viksit nation by 2047. We are in the business of creating jobs, aspirational jobs for our youth. And also, we are in the business of making steel. Thank you, friends. Have a good day.